Okay, so we can see in the new trailer for Stranger Things that Elle can fly, but we've seen her do this before, right? Yes and no. Fans of Stranger Things are well aware that creatures who live in the Upside Down can fly, such as the Demobats. The humans who visit that plane of reality generally can't do the same on their own, unless they're manipulated by a telekinetic like Eleven or Vecna. But thanks to her well-established powers, it's quite believable that Elle can take wing. There's definitely a sort of precedent for people with mind control related abilities being able to do what Elle does in the trailer. But this is definitely a super advanced case of her using her levitation skills to a whole new advantage. Remember that we've seen her do this before, most famously during the finale of Season 2. By the looks of things, she has a much higher level of control now. Usually, if a human being levitates in the Stranger Things world, it's bad news. It tends to mean that they're being mind controlled by Vecna and that they're about to die in a violent, horrible way. Think of Chrissy or Max, one of whom survived Vecna's grasp and one of whom didn't. But even though they had their strings pulled, this shows a definite history of humans being able to take flight in that universe. Elle's abilities stretch much further than that, making her a well-rounded powerhouse of a character who manages to make her enemies blanch in fear. Chief among Eleven's talents is her telekinetic gift, honed by her time in Hawkins' lab. She starts small in the beginning, crushing pop cans while still imprisoned in the lab, causing Dustin's Millennium Falcon model to levitate, and squeezing the bladders of bullies to make them pee their pants.
Dude, Troy peed himself!
But we eventually see that she's able to use her mind to lift cars and hurl them as weapons, pull train cars towards herself, and even break the bones of her enemies. And her ultimate power move? She can crush the brains of those who oppose her, as she did with several agents who were trying to capture her and the boys at the school in Season 1. Or maybe her ultimate power move is that she actually has mastery over life itself, at least partly. Remember that she resurrects Max after her heart stops during her fight with Vecna in Season 4. Interestingly, her powers are limited in this respect. She can help Max survive, but cannot help heal what Vecna has done to her. That's left to medical professionals at the hospital. Still though, the fact remains. You do not want to mess with Elle when she's angry. You wouldn't be likely to survive it. Elle isn't just a telekinetic, she's also an empath who has the ability to view things that are happening far outside of her line of sight, including things that are happening in a totally different dimension. Her ability to tell what's going on far away from her means she's gifted with foresight, which means she can view events that are taking place a long way away from her. This includes mind-walking, literally entering the psyche of a target to confront or speak to them. But she can also soothe her subjects, using her ability to enter the minds of others to show she cares for them and wants them to be safe. This is how Elle protects Max when Vecna's curse threatens her life. This is also how she manages to get the upper hand on Vecna once and for all.
You and your friends believe you have won, don't you?
It's all a form of astral projection which Elle has begun to master over the course of Seasons 3 and 4. Elle's powers are connected to how she's doing emotionally, and bursts of anger in particular affect them. They can also take a great physical toll on her and those around her. She develops a nosebleed whenever she does something intense with her powers, and can cause electrical currents to jump in reaction to her fury or sadness. Another gift that Elle possesses is the ability to open up gates from the real world that lead to the Upside Down. We first see this when she opens the Mother Gate after creating a mental link with the Demogorgon in Season 1. This is also how she gets rid of the one, Henry Creel, when he attacks her at Hawkins' lab before becoming Vecna. Neither of these incidents occur intentionally, with Elle being under great emotional strain when they happen. That being said, Elle has yet to open a gate of her own volition. The notion that she might be able to do so is a promising and yet frightening notion. Imagine how powerful she would be if she could harness and direct that ability. Yikes. Elle can also manipulate the portals created by others to let her pass through to other worlds, as when she used a gate created by the Demogorgon to get back to Hawkins. She has gradually been able to close those open portals, though it puts a great physical strain on her to manage that. Besides her ability to use psychic projection, Elle has been granted the power of extrasensory perception, or ESP. She has a way of knowing things she's never witnessed without having to enter the mind of another person, like who the people in various photos taken in the Upside Down are. Her ESP surfaces in various ways across the series. she reads the memories of several characters, including her biological mom Terry, which she tries to use to help them. She performs acts of psychometry and can figure out which person has touched, held, or owned an object simply by putting her own hands on it. Unsurprisingly, she's able to look at the boys' Dungeons & Dragons game and figure out which token belongs to Will.
Will. Superpowers.
Elle can even harness the power of electronics, though in a haphazard way that doesn't always work. She can use various speakers and sound systems to project noises, voices, and other sounds through them, and sometimes her powers even overload the devices and cause them to burst into flames. Before Elle becomes part of Sheriff Hopper's household, she's able to survive on her own in the woods after escaping Hawkins' lab. She learns how to forage for food, make fires, and keep herself sheltered, all without having anyone to teach her how or having any experience of her own. Her perseverance is what saves her in the end, and it's what enables her to survive and become such a huge part of the Hawkins crew's adventures. Elle is very good at both spying on others without being detected and moving around without being seen. She manages to outwit a whole bunch of adults who are trying to recapture her and drag her back to Hawkins' lab in one case. She could likely survive out in the woods for years if she needed to. Elle's instincts and intellect are balanced out by a strong, evolving emotional IQ. She knows enough not to hurt others, but sometimes is overpowered by negative thoughts when people are cruel to her. Even though she takes a rebellious and dark turn for a while during Season 2, she's grounded in the strength of her friends. Still, she has a whole lot of sympathy for individuals who would otherwise seem monstrous or abusive to others, like Billy, and she has a decent amount of empathy for other people's suffering, especially if they've been kind to her before. That she comes to care for so many people is a tribute to the triumph of her spirit, even if sometimes those choices lead her to out-of-character moments that fans think go too far. Elle is never one to give up when something terrible happens. She never hesitates to stand up for her friends when they're being bullied or if they're in trouble, and can cause great physical harm to people who have been cruel to those she likes. She's a tough girl with a soft heart, but she can also be very creative when it comes to deploying her skills in a dangerous environment. If she can't use her psychic powers in public or has to improvise some new weapon quickly, that's not a problem. Remember her employing a skate during that roller rink fight to bash Angela's face?
She looks like she's gonna be fine.
She's totally fine. She didn't look fine.
Elle isn't afraid of using what she has at hand to her full advantage, whether it's a pair of defibrillator paddles or her own fists. She also picks up practical skills with the greatest of ease. She learns Morse code from Hopper during Season 2 and masters the style of communication easily, even though she has to use a decoder. It's hardly a superpower, but it becomes a crucial way for the two of them to keep in touch over time and throughout the rest of the series. The most interesting and underexplored aspect of Elle's character is that she has the ability to commune with those caught between worlds. That includes both those who have functionally passed and those who dwell in places like the Upside Down, like Will. She could communicate with Max when she was in a coma and spoke to Henry Creel when he was lurking in the Upside Down. This is thanks to her innate connection to the Upside Down, a place she is a part of, that's a part of her that she's been trying to escape from her entire life. Elle's ability to straddle all planes of reality is a fascinating element of her life, something that hints at her constantly evolving metaphysical capabilities. It wouldn't be a surprise if she manages to blow up an entire planet by the time the finale of Stranger Things airs, but audiences will have to wait until the end of 2025 to find out whether she ends up saving Hawkins or destroying it. The final season of Stranger Things will be released in chunks, one part on Thanksgiving, the final part on Christmas Day, and the finale on New Year's Eve. Let's see if 11 sends 2025 out with a bang.